to Condo Online. We are in the crow's nest today, and we have a very interesting interview for you all today. It's a writer by the name of Ste Mc, who has written quite a couple of plays, and we're going to get some insight into some of his work, and we're also going to talk about a new play that he has up. But before we start, I want to talk about an event that's on later today. It's Vivid by Big Condor, and it'll be held at Bar 17 on Hatfield Street, which is just off Bowl Street in Liverpool. Alright, it starts at 6 p.m. and it's a night of live performances, poetry, music and theatre. Alright, we have a lot of acts. It's like a whole full packed night of events and of artists. So we have Helen Bourne, Maya Anna, Monroop. We have myself also, who will be doing some poetry. Okay, we've got Nikasi, who's singing, who's a very big thing now in Liverpool. Khalil, Darren C. And there's also a play by Irene Stewart. Alright? We have a lot of plays by Irene Stewart these days, but she has a showcase at the event, and it'll be one hell of a thing to come and see. So it's all night, starts at 6, goes to about 11. Come enjoy. Alright, and I'd like to welcome into the studio Ste Mc. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. You okay?
I'm fine. If you can maybe just twist the mic a little bit more
problem.
to you. And that's great. Yeah, so how are you today?
I'm good, thanks very much, yeah.
Nice. So you are a playwright.
Amateur, yeah. I've got, Marge.
Yeah.
I've got an ongoing joke, because I think on my Facebook profile it says amateur everything.
Yeah.
So I've agreed with Marge that once the full length play's on, I will change my amateur everything to playwright. So depending on how it goes.
Depending, well, it's you're past the stage of maybe it will be on, because things are going to be on.
It's definitely on.
Fantastic. So tell me a little bit about Ste Mc.
Well, I work for a living. I've got a proper job.
Yeah. Because playwriting is not a proper job.
It's not for me. Not for me. I'd love it to be where I can stop what I'm doing and fully concentrate on writing. Yeah. But at the moment, I've got a full-time 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
And I concentrate on writing only on a Sunday.
All right, that's great. Can you do me a favor and mic a little closer to you?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. All right, well, that's good. So you do your writing on a Sunday. So all these plays that you write.
You make it sound like I've got millions, but
well,
I've got about 5,
okay,
I think.
Let's talk about...
All on a Sunday. All on a Sunday.
Let's talk about when you started to write plays.
I started to write plays when I got a place on the Play's the Thing at the Everyman with Kiefer Williams.
Yeah.
So I wrote a small 15-minute play, which was about an interrogation. Yeah. It was actually performed here a couple of weeks ago as part of Murder at Midnight.
Murder at Midnight. Okay. Yeah. What was the name of that play?
Another Place.
Another Place. All right. So let me just cut you there. There'll be a link to that play in the show notes, so you can take a look at it and get a feel of some of Ste Mc's work. Yeah. Carry on.
Okay. So I enjoyed the process. Kiefer then done another play with your play, not play with your play. The Play's the Thing for a full length play. So I decided to give it a go. It was harder than I thought, because trying to fill 60 minutes of material on a page is not as easy as it sounds, especially writing material that people are going to like. Yeah. But I think I've done it. Well, you'll find out in June if I've done it or not.
Oh, okay. Well, that's great then. Well, we'll see what happens. Okay. So you talk about liking the process.
Yes.
All right. What is your process of writing plays? Do you have a process, or do you wing it, or what do you do?
Wing it. I have an idea.
Yeah.
And what I will do then, I will sit down with an iPad.
Yeah.
and just write.
Okay.
Obviously, with the idea, I know roughly where it's going to go. As it's flown, sometimes it can take me in a completely different direction.
Okay.
Which I wasn't expecting. But usually, I've got an idea, a beginning, a middle of it, or I've certainly got a beginning and an end.
Yeah.
And then I just try and join them both together.
So where does your idea start? So do you start at the beginning? Do you start with a character? Do you start?
No, I'll be honest, the ideas can come from anywhere. I
Yeah.
could be watching a TV programme and somebody says something. I could be reading a line in a book.
Yeah.
And start and think, that's a good idea. I could see something on a clip of something and try and take that in a totally different direction.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had an idea just off my own head and thought, right, that's what I want to do. So all the characters I've written, the scenarios I've put together is probably just either been from a conversation or a clip of some kind of word in a book. That's really it.
Okay, so we talked a little earlier and you said you had quite a couple of plays put on.
Yeah.
Let's just hear like a list of those plays that you had put on. And
Okay, the first one I ever put on was put on for me. Was part of Liverpool Playwrights.
Okay.
They had a bistro theatre event last June in the Brink in Liverpool. And I wrote a small short play called Fish Finger Surprise, which was a little two-hander. It was really well received. To be honest, I'm quite biased, but it's really funny.
Yeah.
After that, I wrote 2 Christmas plays for Liverpool Playwrights, which never saw the light of day.
Yeah.
Because the venue it wasn't taken up, so that the event fell through. So last year in about October, I submitted them to a competition for Southwark Playhouse.
Yeah.
And for the first time ever in the 15 years or so, this director's cut theatre group had been hosting the competition. They chose 2 of mine.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, because I submitted also, they didn't pick mine.
Okay,
so,
I'm sorry.
It's alright.
Okay. So they picked 2 of mine, so I drove to London.
Yeah.
And watched the 2 plays being performed, which was fantastic. You're a writer yourself. It's really strange. It's not strange is not the right word. It's fantastic. Not only if you're going to something like Liverpool Playwrights and you've got people reading out your work, that's great.
Yeah.
But if you've seen an actor and an actress and you've had no control over what they're going to do, you just turn up on the night to see how they've looked at your work, how they're acting, and it's an amazing experience.
Because that's what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you, how did it feel, really, knowing that you can't pop in and have a look and see what they're doing on an afternoon? You have no insight to what's going on in rehearsals. You have no insight to what's going on in the director's mind.
To be fair, the one was a comedy about a Santa Claus who'd been arrested for breaking and entering. The other one was a play about 2 homeless people, and the director of the homeless one was in constant contact over email. He would show me stills, he'd tell me that he took them into the park to get a feel of the outside. But it's not the same as sitting there and watching it, because you don't know what to expect. You don't know whether they've changed.
So it's almost like you're watching a play for the first time.
Yeah, because when I write, it's quite visual because I know what I want it to look like.
Yeah.
But I'm not a director, so I've got no idea if what I've written somebody else is going to have the same vision.
Yeah.
But the Santa Claus one was really well received. It was really funny. But the homeless one had people in the audience crying, which is amazing, because that was the whole point of me writing it.
Yeah.
To draw attention and to have that reaction from people that I've never met, or it's a little bit different with friends and family, and they come to see you play and everybody politely claps. But to be in a packed out theatre where nobody knows me in another city, to have that type of reaction is fantastic.
That's what every writer wants. They want people to get it, and they want people to feel a certain way when they watch it.
Yeah.
That's well done. So you just talked about 3 plays.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, at the same time, I was in touch with a company in Liverpool called Script Shop.
Yes. Tom McLennan.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, a woman called Kate.
Yes, Kate.
She contacted me saying that they got me script and invited me along to a script in hand. So I went along thinking I was going to a totally different play. Yeah. I thought it was one of the London ones that I had no idea where they got me script from.
Yeah.
I must have submitted it. I don't remember. So they really liked the script. They contacted me earlier last month, and asked could they enter it for the Liverpool Festival over the water.
Yes.
Which I had never heard of, but I agreed to. It was performed at the Gladstone Theatre last month. It didn't win. I got some really favourable comments. I got some really favourable comments off the adjudicator.
Yeah.
And Kate and Tommy were both nominated for Best Actor and Best Actress.
Oh, that's great.
And the only other thing that I've had was Kiefer Williams done Grin Theatre. I had a piece called For Men Don't Talk.
Yeah.
I had a piece chosen for that as well about mental health. And that's all I've had on, really.
Oh, fantastic. Alright, so when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about your new play that's going to come up. Alright, called Death and All Its Friends.
Yeah.
Alright, we're back. Alright, so we're back, and before I go on, I want to talk a little bit about a play that's coming up in June the 2nd. Alright, it's a double bill written by Irene Stewart, 2 plays, Agnes and Me, and Why. Alright, and again, it'll be at Hope Street Theatre. Okay, one is a comedy, one is a Scouse comedy, and the other is, I would consider it a social commentary. Yeah, so take it in. We are fully supporting those 2 plays here. Again, it's on the 2nd of June at Hope Street Theatre. The tickets are at Hope Street Theatre. And now we're back with Ste Mc, and we're going to talk about his new play, Death and All His Friends. How many friends does Death have? How many friends do you have to look out for?
In this play, 6.
6 friends?
Yeah.
Alright. Tell us a little bit about how that play started.
Okay, it started as a short monologue.
Yeah.
I was asked to see if we could write a short monologue for a short dark monologue.
Yeah.
15 minutes.
When do you mean dark? Like,
I've no idea.
Yeah.
I think on the playwriting course, Kiefer mentioned he was putting on a series of dark monologues for Halloween.
Okay.
So I thought I'll give it a little go.
Yeah.
Couldn't write a 15-minute monologue. I could write a 6-minute monologue. So what I said to Kiefer was, I said, I wrote one, but it's only a 6-minute. I said, what you could do is use this character to open your play,
yeah,
and have him to introduce the acts.
Okay.
But I don't think anything ever came of it. But I liked the character. So we used to go to scratch nights as part of the plays The Thing in 81 Renshaw Street. And I slowly started expanding on the story, and before I knew it I had 10-15 minutes. So
it's that one character?
Just on that one character. Okay. So, and it's a really good character. So when I put my name down for the full length course, I thought I'd expand it and try and turn this 15-minute character into a full length play.
Okay.
Which is what I've done.
Well, you mentioned a little bit before about your process.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did this one start? Did you hear something? Did you see something? How did that? Do you remember?
I do remember.
Yeah.
It started off from a phrase on the internet.
Yeah.
There's something on the internet called 20-word horror story.
20-word horror story. Okay.
So there was a 20-word horror story, and I thought that's really scary, and I expanded on a 20-word horror story.
Oh, okay.
So that's where it all came from.
Oh, that's fantastic then. I like that when you find other things and you to build your piece.
Yeah.
So, all right. What's the play about?
It's set in a fictional building.
Yeah.
And what it does is it traces the history of the building through certain things that have happened during the course of the centuries. Because it jumps from probably 1850 with the main character. Then it goes to 1901.
Yeah.
Then to 1950. Then up to present day.
Okay.
So it's 3 separate stories with a master of ceremonies who tells her own story in sections to link the entire whole thing together.
Because that was my next question. How did you link these 3 stories
well,
together?
I've got what the master of ceremonies has got her own story.
Yeah.
And what she does, she will tease you. When you come into the theatre, she will begin telling her story, and just as a certain part, she will stop and say, "Oh, you're not here to listen to me. Let's have a find out why you're here." And then it goes to proceed to tell you the first story. And then when the first story concludes, she comes back out, talks a little bit about the story, and then goes back into her story again, but then teases a little bit more. So.
Oh, that's very interesting. So it seems to me to be like a Twilight Zone type of a thing.
Yeah, Tales from the Crypt type of thing.
Tales
Yeah.
from the Crypt.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what I normally like to do is to ask someone to explain something a little more in depth.
Okay.
You know. So tell me about. Choose a part of the play. Might be one of the characters. Tell us about that character, like maybe where they came from, or to give us a better idea.
Okay. My favourite story in the play is the second story, and it's called Life and Death.
Yeah.
And it involves a young girl in her mid-20s, and she's on top of a building, which is supposed to be the Hope Street Theatre.
Okay.
And she's threatening to jump off. And what she then has to deal with is a policeman who is on his first night alone on the job. Yeah. And he's got to climb to the top of the building and to try and talk her down. It's my favourite piece in it. The 2 actors that are playing it in rehearsals have been absolutely stunning. What I wanted to do when I wrote it is give an audience a moment, a shock, where the breath catches in the back of the throat. There's certainly moments like that in the play. The girl is on top of the roof because her husband wanted to leave her. They were childhood sweethearts. It's the 50s. Her husband wants to leave her and take the baby. And it's her journey from being terrified on the roof, and whether it's a will she, won't she type of situation. Will she jump, won't she jump? Will the policeman talk her down? Or is it too late? Okay. So it's my favourite part of the whole play.
Of the whole play.
Yeah. Apart from the master of ceremonies, because the master of ceremonies is fantastic. The girl Haley, who's playing Jen, really good playing it as well. Because that's my favourite character in the whole of the whole piece, because she's that important that she has to tie it all together. So.
Okay. Oh, all right. That's actually great. So it's a play. There's the master ceremonies, and you have 3 intertwining stories.
Yes.
All right. Do these stories? I know you said it's tied together by the lady who is always like in charge of the hotel. Yeah. Are these 2 individual stories, or do these stories always link to each other?
The only link
is it themed, or
no? The only link is they're all about death, but they're all supposed to have happened in the same building.
Okay.
So it's like the history of the building, and because of the nature or the evilness of the building, something has happened throughout the years, over the decades, to various people at various times during the building's history.
Okay.
So that's the only thing that links it.
All right. Nice. So who's the director?
The director is Sarah Sharp.
Yeah.
She also is one of the founding members of Sucker Punch Theatre.
Okay.
Highly impressed with her. She's really, really good. To be honest, I'm sat here because she chose my play at a thing called Play With Your Play for Make It Right last year.
Yeah.
At that moment we had James Stapleton as one of the actors and Floyd Kennedy as the other actor, and they played the first scene in the play.
Yeah.
And both of them were absolutely fantastic. And it's solely because of that performance on that night that Sarah said, I want to direct that play. So without Sharon putting Play With Your Play on, and Sarah and the actors having that particular performance on that night, because don't get me wrong, there was some really good plays also being performed on that night, but because of the standout performance from the actors on the night, that's really the only reason I'm sat here now, because it'll probably still be in a draw somewhere otherwise.
On that note then, who are your actors for these plays?
Okay, Jen is played by Hayley.
Yeah.
Hayley Warner. She's really, really good. Originally, the part was written for a man called Jeb. But when we auditioned Hayley, she blew us away. So the actress we've got now for the main female roles is absolutely fantastic, as was Hayley, and we wanted to work with her.
How did that happen? How did you have on your casting sheet, male, whatever age, this is the guy, and then all of a sudden it becomes...
Because she was that good.
So she auditioned for that part?
No, she auditioned for all the girl parts. So because she was that good, in this actual book, during rehearsals, I actually wrote next to her name, Jeb. Versatile, Jeb.
Okay.
So we phoned her on the same day and asked could she come back, but she was already on a train to Wales. We asked her would she do an audition tape for Jeb as a girl. Within 2 hours she'd done a tape. It was fantastic. So I spent the next 2 days rewriting it for a woman. That's how good she was. So we've got Hayley Claire Warner as Jen. We've got James Stapleton, who plays 3 parts. James Stapleton was part of the original team that done the Play With Your Play, and for that I'll be forever grateful, because he was stunning.
He got you this gig, more or less.
He did. Him and Floyd got me the gig. That's, like I said, forever grateful, because there's a particular scene in the first play where he loses his temper and stands up and kicks the chair, and in that little theatre space above Howe Street, it was a standout moment. It was everybody, you know. So he's playing 3 parts. And we've also got Laura Connolly, who's been in, you know, she's been in Bob the Russian. She was in Murder Ballads last week, and she is ridiculously versatile. Her cast reveal tape is just stunning. So she goes from a 50+ Scottish woman to a 20-year-old mother who's threatened to throw herself off a building, to, in the final one, a former Big Brother airhead who's looking for a final chance at fame.
Yeah.
And she flicks between them so easily. Delighted to have the three of them on board.
Well done. So it seems like you have the full writers, actors, and director all
Great.
well put together.
Yes.
All right. So before we wrap up, I want to ask you one last question. All right. But I'm going to let you think about it. But I want you to tell us why we should come and see that play. Sell us that play. All right. So have a little think.
Okay.
While I just talk about one more event we have on May, which is a Spare Rib Superstar put on by the Spare Rib Burlesque Cabaret. Yeah, it will be held at Phase 1. That's on Steel Street. I think it's the bottom of Steel Street. Alright. It seems to be a very exciting show. I'm just going to read a little bit of it. It says, it's that time of year again when we bring up and coming talent of the burlesque world to our stage to compete for the title of Spare Rib Superstar. Alright, that means you have your chance to have your say in who you think deserves to be crowned Spare Rib Superstar's Audience Choice 2019. But you have got to be there to cast your vote. So what happens is that there are a handful of burlesque stars, and they're going to come here to Liverpool to, for lack of a better phrase, show us what they got. And with that, let's hear what Steve's got.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody probably says this. It's great. But mine genuinely is the actors and the director, the Liana, the stage manager. Everyone is still working ridiculously hard to bring you something totally different to what's out there. You don't get many scary plays. It's funny, it's scary. There's catch your breath in your throat moments. There's genuine jump out of your seat moments.
Okay.
It's got a little bit of everything. I'm ridiculously proud to have written it, but the actors and the director have just taken it to a totally completely different level than I ever thought was possible. So.
Right, fantastic. I think that what Steve did was talk a lot about the behind the scenes. But again, I was in a group with Steve, and he writes very well, and I'm going to give him his props as a writer, that he sees things in a different way than most other people see it. So I want to tell you thanks again for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Alright, I'll definitely like to see you back with the next play. Feel free to come in anytime, just give us a call. And, people, let's head out to see Death and All His Friends. It'll be at the Hope Street Theatre, yeah?
Yep.
On the 12th and 13th of June.
Yep.
Tickets at the theatre.
At the theatre.
At the theatre.
Online.
And online.
Hope Street, only online. HopeStreetTheatre.com, and I think it's ticket quarter.
Fantastic. Just want to say again that this show was produced by Make It Right also, and when we interviewed Sharon last week, she mentioned that you need to come and see these plays now, because I can also come in that Steve is a very good writer, and let's catch it now before he has his plays at the Royal and no one can afford to go and see them. So until next time, we're on the cruise. Before I go, Steve, if someone wants to get in contact with you, social media.
Just Ste Mc, Facebook, Twitter. I'm even on Instagram as well.
Okay, fantastic. Ste Mc, all the information that we discussed today, you'll see it in the show notes. And thanks again for checking us out in the Crow's Nest and Addae G, and we are out for today.